pleasure doesn't have any meaning. So now I'm on Ecclesiastes 2. I said to myself, Solomon says to himself, I'll put pleasure to the test. I want to find out what is good. But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter is foolish, I said. And what, oh, these birds, and what can pleasure do for me? I tried cheering myself up by drinking wine. That's pretty fun. I even tried living in a foolish way, but wisdom was still guiding my mind. I wanted to see what was really important for men to do on the earth during the few days of their lives. We live here but a whisper of time. So I started some large projects. This is Solomon still. I built houses for myself. I planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks. I planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made lakes to water groves of healthy trees. I bought male and female slaves. They had slaves back then. They did not mistreat them. They did not mistreat them. They did purchase them, however. And I had other slaves who were born in my house. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem ever had before. I stored up silver and gold for myself. I gathered up the treasures of kings and kingdoms. I got some male and female singers. I also got many women for myself. Did he find joy in that? Nope. He says pleasure doesn't have any meaning. You know, all the women you want, all the men you want, and you are not going to be satisfied. You're not going to be happy. Women delight the hearts of men. However, he says, I got many women for myself. Women delight the hearts of men. I became far more important than anyone in Jerusalem had ever been before. And in spite of everything, I didn't lose my wisdom. I gave myself everything my eyes wanted. There wasn't any pleasure that I refused to give myself. I took delight in everything that I did, and that was what I got for all of my work. But then I looked over everything my hands had done. I saw what I had worked so hard to get, and nothing had any meaning. It was a chastening of the wind. Nothing has been gained on this earth. Next title, Wisdom and Foolish Pleasure Don't Have Any Meaning. This is Ecclesiastes 12. So Solomon says to himself, I decided to think about wisdom. I also thought about foolish pleasure. What more can a new king do? Can he do anything more than others have already done? I saw that wisdom is far better than foolishness, just as light is better than darkness. The eyes of a wise man see things clearly. A person who is foolish lives in darkness. But I finally realized that death catches up with both of them. Then I thought, what happens to a foolish person will catch up with me too. So what do I gain by being wise? I said to myself, that doesn't have any meaning either. Like a foolish person, a wise man won't be remembered very long. In days to come, both of them will be forgotten. Like a person who is foolish, a wise man must die too. The next title, Ecclesiastes 2 and 17. So I decided to hate life. The Eeyore syndrome, Charlie Brown syndrome. That's because the work that is done on the earth made me sad. None of it has any meaning. It's like chasing the wind. I hated everything I had worked for on earth. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I want you to think of something. If you're living in America or other places that are similar to the American way of life, you've been to preschool, you've been to kindergarten, you've been to elementary school, you've been to middle school, high school, graduate high school, you go to college, you graduate college, You get a job, you work, you have your career. So, where's the wisdom? Is that where happiness begins? I say not. No, it does not. It says, I hated everything that I had worked for on earth. I'll have to leave it all for someone else who lives after me. And who knows whether that person will be wise or foolish. Either way, he'll take over everything on earth I've worked hard for. That doesn't have any meaning either. So I began to lose hope because of all my hard work on this earth. A man might use wisdom, knowledge, and skill to do his work, but then he has to leave everything that he owns to someone who hasn't worked for it. That doesn't have any meaning either. In fact, it isn't fair. Ever heard that? Kids say it a lot. But I think that we foolish adults also say that a lot. That isn't fair. What does the man get for all of his hard work on earth? What does he get for all of his worries? As long as he lives, his work is nothing but pain and sorrow. Even at night, his mind can't rest. That doesn't have any meaning either. A man can't do anything better than eat and drink and be satisfied with his work. I'm finally seeing that those things also come from the hand of God. Without his help, who can eat or find pleasure? God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness to a man who pleases him. So, first we have to please him. But to a sinner, he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth. Then the sinner must hand it over to the one who pleases God. Why did you stop?